So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily MCQ Practice. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs through a set of 4 to 5 MCQs. The idea behind this lecture series is that we want you to cover your current affairs and we want you to revise them. And what better way of revising your current affairs than by getting the much needed MCQ practice? Because MCQ practice would come in really handy for your prelims examination. It is really important for your prelims examination. No matter how much knowledge you have, it doesn't matter if you have not practiced enough MCQs for your prelims examination. You won't be able to clear your prelims examination with knowledge alone. You need MCQ practice. And since current affairs form the most dominant portion of prelims examination, around 40 to 50% of MCQs are directly or indirectly related to current affairs. Therefore, to cover your current affairs portion, MCQs, we have launched this series. 4 to 5 MCQs covered on a daily basis would add up to more than 1200 MCQs by the time you're ready for your prelims examination this year. Okay, so make sure you make this lecture series a part of your daily routine, make it a daily habit of yours, and you would not have to worry about your current affairs portion in prelims examination. All right. Okay, so enough of the introduction. Let's straight away jump into the lecture, starting with question number 1. Consider the following statements regarding Good Governance Index. It is an index that ranks states and UTs on over 50 indicators. It is a biennial index that is compiled by Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions. It was launched on December 25th, 2019 on the birth anniversary of former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Okay, so the thing is that Good Governance Index was launched in 2019 on December 25th on the birth anniversary of Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. In fact, his birth anniversary is also celebrated as Good Governance Day. Okay, so on this day in 2019, Government of India decided that why not create a healthy competition between states and UTs. So the government launched this Good Governance Index through which different states and UTs shall be ranked. Okay, they will be ranked, they would be given a score, and on the basis of that score, they would be ranked, and their rank would be the result of their performance on more than 50 indicators. Okay, so it is an index that ranks states and UTs on over 50 indicators, absolutely correct. It is a biennial index. That means it is released every 2 years and it is compiled by Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions. This is also correct. And third statement is also correct. So the answer is all three. All right. Question number 2. Which of the following statements are correct regarding norovirus or winter vomiting disease? Norovax is a vaccine that was recently developed to combat this viral infection. This viral infection is the most common cause of gastroenteritis and is mostly spread through oral fecal route. A person develops natural immunity for life after getting infected with this virus once. Okay, so recently USA has been really suffering from this problem of norovirus infection. Okay, now norovirus is a type of virus that if it enters your body, it causes stomach inflammation. Okay, stomach inflammation. The technical name for stomach inflammation is gastroenteritis. What happens in gastroenteritis? The inner lining of your stomach gets inflamed. That is why you are not able to digest much food. It leads to fever. It leads to body ache, headache. It leads to vomiting. And that is why it is called winter vomiting disease. It leads to diarrhea also. Okay. Now, so basically it's a stomach infection of sorts. Okay. Now, the thing is that you get infected with norovirus if you have consumed contaminated food or you have come in contact with contaminated water. It is mostly spread through fecal oral route. That means without washing your hand after going to the bathroom and then contaminating the food, and then that contaminated food is eaten by someone else. So basically, if you're not following proper hygiene practices, if restaurants are not following hygiene practices, norovirus spreads easily. Okay, so this viral infection is the most common cause of gastroenteritis and is mostly spread through oral fecal route. Absolutely correct. Now, what is the treatment for this virus? Well, till now, no vaccine has been developed for this disease. So, there is no vaccine available for it. So, you can't prevent it. If you have already contacted or contracted norovirus or winter vomiting disease, then the treatment for it is that there is no medicine available. What you can do is you can only suppress the symptoms. Okay, so if you are running fever, you'll take paracetamol. If you have been having diarrhea, continuous diarrhea, which has led to dehydration, you'll be given ORS, rehydration salts, and whatnot. Okay, so only symptom management is the only treatment, right? There is no vaccine available for this. So Noravax vaccine that was recently developed, absolutely wrong. There is no vaccine. This virus goes away from your body automatically after 3-4 days. All right. Now, when you're infected with this virus once, generally with many diseases, it happens, you're infected with that virus, your body starts to produce antibodies. Your immune system produces antibodies so that in future when this virus comes to you, your bodies fight it off. Your immune system fights it off, and you are immune from that virus or bacteria. That is known as natural immunity. But that is not the case in when we talk about norovirus. You do not develop natural immunity for life after getting infected with this disease once. If you have gotten infected with this disease, you do not develop natural immunity. You can again get this disease. The thing is, norovirus mutates a lot and it has many strains. So you cannot get immunity against all the strains. Okay, so this statement is also false. Only 2C. Question number 3. Which of the following statements is are correct regarding neutrinos? These are small, extremely low mass and neutral charged particles present in our universe. Neutrinos release Cherenkov radiation when interacting with water molecules. Neutrinos are the second most abundant particle in the universe after photons. Okay. So look, as far as atom is concerned, you must have heard about subatomic particles: protons, neutrons, electrons, right? But after further study, it was found that protons are also made up of different subatomic particles. Protons themselves are made up of many subatomic particles. Neutrons themselves are made up of some other subatomic particles: muons, quarks, neutrinos, Higgs boson, and whatnot. Okay. So, among that list of subatomic particles that make up proton and neutrons, there is one particle known as neutrinos. They are almost massless, very small particles, almost massless, and they don't have any charge, neither positive nor negative. Okay, these particles, neutrinos, are very abundant in our universe. In fact, they are the second most abundant particle. The most abundant particle is photon, from which light is made. Okay, so second most abundant particle, absolutely correct. Now, when these neutrinos interact with water molecule or ice molecules, they release a particular radiation called Cherenkov radiation. It is a type of light only. Okay, so Cherenkov radiation is released when these neutrinos interact with water or ice molecules. Okay, so this is also correct. All statements are correct. And last, consider the following statements regarding macro stress test for credit risk. Macro stress testing is a way of quantifying the link between macroeconomic variables and the health of either a single financial institution, like a bank, or the whole financial sector, like the whole banking sector. It involves the usage of a model that captures the interrelationship between selected macroeconomic variables and financial variables. Okay. Now, look, macro stress tests are basically tests to basically check the vulnerability of banking sector or financial sector. Okay, so what happens is, first of all, there are different macroeconomic variables like GDP, inflation, and many others. All right, these are macroeconomic variables. And then there are variables that measure the health of banking system like NPA ratio, capital adequacy ratio, and others. Okay, so first, uh, the experts actually map the relationship between these two. What is the impact of high GDP on NPA-CAR? What is the impact of high inflation on NPA-CAR? So first, the relationship between these two sets of variables are mapped, and then it is checked that in future, if GDP goes to this level, then what would happen to banking sector? If GDP increases, then what would happen to banking sector? Okay, if GDP increases, then what would happen to banking sector? Okay, so the impact of the future values of these macroeconomic variables on financial sector is measured through macro stress tests. Okay, so both these statements are correct. C. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And please do not forget to revise this lecture also. And by revision, I mean going through the detailed written solutions to explanations to all the MCQs discussed in this lecture. Okay. Now, these detailed explanations are provided in our notes, and these notes are available on our Telegram channel. Now, the link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below this video. All you have to do is just click on that link. It will take you to our Telegram channel, and from there you can download the notes for not just this lecture, but all the other lectures featuring on our YouTube channel. On that note, I'll be signing off. Thank you so much, everyone.